Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sealand News Brief. Today is September 21st, Wednesday. We want to review a mortgage interest rate first, of course. And the first news is world's tallest tower deliver America's priciest home at $250 million. Anybody's home, any home listing price is 250 million. We'll see that. The next news is Hudson Yard developer will bid casino license in Manhattan West Side. That's going to be interesting. Finally, New York will have a casino. Okay, the next news is Korean population increases in New Jersey, but slightly declined in New York. The next news is home sellers shift tack to rent in slow residential market. Then next news is bonds returns pose new threat to stocks. The next is rising house costs to drive up inflation. So what is the relationship between rising housing cost and the inflation? The last one is EB-5 immigrant investment program returns. So let's take a look at the news one by one. First, this week, the mortgage rate. Well, except the FHA loan, it stays the same, 5.5, and 7-year ARM, it stays at 5.875. All other interest rate went up again. I believe it's continuously 3 weeks. All we see this red text. So this week, 5.99. This is kind of the fairway as it provides, but some of them already went up to over 6%. 15-year is 5.125, and 10-year Treasury yield is 3.589. We want to talk about this, the 10-year Treasury yield later on. And 5-year ARM is now 5.875. And again, 7-year ARM stays the same, 5.875. And today, yesterday and today, they are holding the FOMC meeting. And out of that meeting today, and therefore, tonight and tomorrow, we will see the news that the Fed raised another 0.75% interest or not. But I think it's 99% probability they're going to raise interest rate, federal fund rate, another 0.75. So this would be the third time then this year. Okay, so first news is the world's tallest tower deliver America's priciest home at $250 million. What kind of a condo listing price is $250 million? The Hudson Yard developer, Xtel Development, lists a triplex penthouse positioned at the highest of more than 1,400 feet at $250 million, which is the most expensive in US, topping the $225 million listing for Michael Eisner's residence in California. And this unit, the triplex, so it covers, they opened up 3 floors from 129th through 131. Features size is 17,500 square feet. and 7 bedrooms and 1,400 square feet terrace with the views of Central Park, the Hudson River, and the East Rivers. If this deal made, it will top the previous record for hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin. I think we reported this news before, Ken Griffin. He paid $223 million for a condo across the street at 220 Central Park South. It's right across this Central Park Tower. And the building, Central Park Tower, is located between on 57th Street between 7th Avenue and Broadway, and launched the sales in October 2018, and construction on the 179-unit building began in 2014 and completed earlier this year. And let's take a look at Central Park Tower. The location is on 57th Street between 7th and Broadway. Okay, this building here. Let's take a look at the view. Phew. So this is a Central Park Tower. Okay, so if you go to Manhattan, and you can see right away. And I believe this is a 220 Central Park South. Okay, anyway, triplex, the 3 stories, they opened up and they listed at $250 million. All right, and so if you know anybody want to buy this, you can introduce. 지금 센트럴파크 타워콘도에 조금 전에 보여드렸던 대로 가장 비싼 리스팅이 나왔죠. 전 세계로 봐야 되겠죠. 네, highest, no, most expensive in US. 그러니까 다른 나라는 아니고 미국에서 가장 비싼 리스팅. 어떻게 되나요? 2억 2,500만 불이죠. 2억 2,500만 불짜리 칸도가 나왔다. 3층을 다 터가지고 17,500 스퀘어피트 이렇게 크게 만들었고, 뷰는 뭐 당연히 센트럴 파크, 허슨 리버, 이스트 리버가 다 보이겠죠. 그리고 이 빌딩은 지금 올해 완공이 됐고 14년도에 이제 만들기 시작했다. 그리고 전체 유닛은 179개 유닛이고 지금 3층을 텄는데 129층에서 131층까지를 다 텄다. 그런 뉴스가 하나 들어와서 우리가 리스팅을 많이 다루고 또 여러분들이 리스팅을 많이 보고 사고 팔고 하는데 그 가장 미국에서 가장 비싼 리스팅은 얼마인가 하는 뉴스가 들어와서 잠깐 소개해드렸습니다. Okay, next news is Hudson Yard developer is the related companies will bid casino in Manhattan West Side. This company, the related CEOs, is planning to bid on license with the gambling hospitality giant to win resort to build a casino on Hudson Yard. And the state gaming commission, well, we know in New Jersey, we have a real estate commission. It governs all the license issues, but it's gaming commission in New York State plans to award up to 3 licenses for casinos in New York State, and Mayor of New York City has asked for 2 casino licenses in NYC. And this related CEO says, as NYC emerges from the pandemic, the Western Yard, meaning Hudson Yard, provides the ideal site for a resort that will reinvigorate our tourism economy and billions in tax revenue for the city and the state. Jeff Brown said, related CEO. Okay, so it might be exciting, sort of a new sort of adventure. New York will have in Manhattan, Hudson Yard, will have a casino or not. 허슨 야드를 개발한 그 Related CEO, the Related company, 여기가 그 윈 리조트라고 하는 그 카지노 자이언트하고 합작으로 해서 허슨 야드에 카지노 빌딩을 짓겠다. 이런 지금 거기에 라이선스 비딩을 하겠다. 이렇게 발표가 됐고요. 뉴욕 전체에 지금 3개의 라이선스를 게이밍 커미션에서 어워드 하려고 하는데 뉴욕 시장이 적어도 뉴욕시에 2개를 유치하겠다고 애스크를 해놨다. 그래서 지금 그 The Related의 CEO 제프 브라운은 지금 팬데믹이 벗어나면서 이 허슨 야드가 가장 이상적인 로케이션이다. 그 투어리즘을 일으켜 세우고 또 텍스 레버뉴를 걷어들이고 하는 데 있어서 그런 지금 얘기를 했다는 뉴스가 지금 들어와 있고요. Okay, one of Korean newspapers, Korea Times, introduced Korean population increase and decrease. So, according to ACS, American Community Survey, Korean population in US is now 1,962,184 in 2021. So it's about 2 million now. Actually, it went up from a year ago, 1.8%, which is good. And 1 year before, it was 926,508. In New York State, Korean population is 141,745. It's declined to 1.5% from a year earlier. And also New York City, Korean population declined 1.1%. It's about 92,529. And New Jersey State, okay, Korean population increased to 113,736 in 2021. It's up 7.6% from a year earlier. That's encouraging news. I thought that New Jersey in general, the people try to move out because of a high tax and very difficult to do the business, etc. But Korean population wise increased about 7.6%. Well, again, I think a couple of weeks ago, we reported New Jersey is the number 2 most desirable state to live in the US, right? In terms of education, in terms of environmental safety, and proximity to the New York and Pennsylvania. Okay, anyway, Korean population increased, that's encouraging, by 7.6%. And the age group, depending on age group, is a little bit different. Age group between 35 to 54, kind of most active age group, in New Jersey takes 32.4%, while New York takes 30.3%. So New Jersey is higher, this age group. And also below 17 years old, New Jersey takes 22%, and New York takes 20.6%. Again, below 17 years old population, also New Jersey got more. But the above 65 is the reverse. New Jersey takes only 12.4%, and the New York takes 22%. I guess New York is somewhat convenient for older generation, above 65. Okay, that was kind of interesting statistics. 한국일보에서 이 서베이에 근거해서 아메리칸 커뮤니티 서베이 거기에 근거해서 인구조사 발표를 했죠. 코리안이 지금 미국 전체에는 약 2 밀리언. 미국 전체는 little bit 못 미치는데 2 밀리언이 1.962 밀리언 해서 그 1년 전 대비 1.8%가 증가했다. 좋은 소식이겠죠. 뉴욕 스테이트는 조금 떨어졌대요. 지금 14만 1,745가 나왔는데 그 전해에는 14만 4천 정도였다. 그리고 뉴욕 시리에도 좀 떨어졌어요. 9만 2천 명. 그런데 뉴저지 스테이트는 뉴저지 주는 한인 인구가 7.6% 늘었다고요. Kind of interesting stat. 그래서 한인 인구가 뉴저지 주에는 11만 3,736명이 됐다. 그런데요, 에이지 그룹이 또 재밌는 그 현상인데요. 에이지 그룹이 35세에서 54세. 그러니까 most economically 그 액티브한 에이지 그룹이 뉴저지가 32.4%고 뉴욕은 30.3%, 좀 작다. 그리고 어린아이들도 그러니까 지금 중고등학생들 국민학교 그 자녀들도 그러니까 17살 이하의 자녀들도 뉴저지가 22%인데 뉴욕은 20.6%다. 조금 작다 이런 얘기인데 단 65세 이상은 뉴욕이 더 많다. 뉴욕이 더 훨씬 많다. 뉴욕이 22%인데 뉴저지는 12.4%다. Kind of interesting 그 demographic change이죠. 일종의. 물론 더 디테일한 거는 모르지만 하여튼 전체 인구 숫자로는 그렇고 연령별도 약간 좀 비교를 해놔서 재밌는 뉴스가 들어와서 한번 이건 그냥 보시면 될 테니까. Okay, next news is home sellers shift the tactic to rent in slow market. Well, we know that the higher mortgage interest rate have reduced the home buying demand, of course, and homes are sitting on the market for longer. The home prices have slid from their springtime peaks in some market, and sellers are reluctant to lower their asking prices. Still, somewhat sellers are stubborn. The number of homes listings that were delisted, 우리말로 리스팅을 내린다 그러죠. Without going under contract rose 58% in August from a year earlier, though the overall numbers remain small. So compared to a year earlier, it increased 58%. Delisted without a contract. And this phenomenon of delisting and renting out has become noticeable. In Southern California, 10% of home sellers switched to their listings from for sale to for rent, and 9% in Texas did so. Well, let's take a look at the simple chart. And Southern California is 10%, as we said, and Texas 9%, and the US average is 4%. So 4% of sellers delisted their house for sale and converted to for rent. Still, they want to sell. 오케이, 지금 이제 마켓에 리스팅한 소위 우리가 얘기하는 DOM이 점점 늘어나기 시작하는 그런 상태에서 홈오너들이 아직까지는 가격을 이렇게 쭉쭉 내리는 상황은 아니다. 좀 reluctant하다. 뭐 그런 지금 상황이고요. 그래서 가격이 지금 스프링 픽이라고 보통 그러죠. 올 봄보다는 상당히 지금 약해져 가고 있지 않느냐. 그런 상황에서 딜리스트해서 셀링에서 빼서 이제 렌팅으로 바꾸는, 리스팅을 바꾸는, for sale에서 for rent로 바꾸는 숫자가 늘어났다. 그래서 1년 전 대비 58%가 늘어났지만 물론 전체적인 숫자는 아직은 작은 상태에 있어서 이 차트에 보여드린 대로 서던 캘리포니아는 10% 정도를 바꿨고 미국 에버리지는 4%. 그래서 나머지 이제 이걸 한번 참고하시면 될 거고요. Next news is bonds returns pose new threat to stocks. Bond yields. We're talking about treasury bond, right? 10-year treasury bond specifically, and trading at the highest levels in more than a decade, posing yet another threat to a stock market. So stock market is kind of becomes weak. Okay, that has struggled to find its footing this year. Stock market is kind of weak, and it's hard to keep the up mode, and it's a struggle to find the footing this year. And returns one would get from stocks would almost always beat what one could get from government bonds yielding close to nothing. So typically, bond yields is nothing, is a small. And of course, the return from stock market usually or government bond yields. However, that dynamic has been upended. Looks like that's it, and not anymore. So after several Fed interest increase, yields across the treasuries market has climbed to multi-year highs right now. And so how high it will go? Terminal rate, okay? So bonds traders are pricing, looking into the forecast. The bond traders are forecasting in a terminal rate of around 4.41%, meaning this 10-year treasury yield will go up 4.41%. That's what we call terminal rate. Terminal rate means that the peak federal fund rate in a rate increase cycle. So right now is increase cycle, right? Federal fund rate. Today, they will raise 0.75. That's we call terminal rate. And the Nomura economist, very famous economy research institute, Nomura economists are forecasting a terminal rate of 4.5% to 4.75%. So it's a still a long way to go. And some of them, they're saying in November, there will be another increase by 0.75%. Or some people, no more 7.5% raise. 지금 그 미국이 굉장히 재밌는 현상이 아니라 조금 걱정되는 현상인데 국채율이 수익률이 상승이 돼가지고 주식시장에 위협을 주고 있다. 지금 이런 얘기인데 보통은 주식시장에서 리턴이 많기 때문에 반드 일드는 트레저리 반드 일드는 그 수익률은 그렇게 보통은 별로 치질 않았다. 그런데 그 다이나믹이 끝나는 것 같다. 왜냐하면 페드가 자꾸 페더럴 펀드 레이스를 올리니까 트레저리 마켓 일드가 지금 굉장히 올라가 있어요. 오케이? 그래서 지금 보겠지만은 이 차트에서 보시게 되면 이게 이제 2-year yield하고 10-year treasury yield를 비교해 놓은 건데 지금 까만 줄이 10-year treasury yield고요. 수익률이고요. 지금 2008년도 쿼터 전서부터 2022년도 지금 그 3분기인가요? 2분기 쿼터까지. 근데 이 밑에 있는 라인이 2-year treasury yield예요. So 2-year treasury yield always below 10-year treasury yield because it's a short term, 2 years only. That is normal. Okay, so we see these gaps. Typically, we see these gaps, but if you look at close to 2000, so the pandemic starts, and well, again, there was some gap, but toward this year, 2022, now this 2-year treasury yield crossover. See here, right now, is a 2-year yield is higher than 10-year. Okay, so this problem area, because it indicates what? Recession. 지금 네, 설명 다 드렸고요. 그래서 지금은 이게 리버스 되는 타임. 여기 look at 여기 한번 보시죠. 지금 이거 금융위기 그때잖아요. 그죠? 금융위기 때도 거의 같아지고 있었죠. 이게 리버스 되거나 같아지는 게 굉장히 경기에서는 리세션으로 보는 거죠. 그래서 쭉 갭이 괜찮았다가 다시 이제 크로스오버 해버렸어요. 지금. 그런 이제 일드 전문가들이 이제 보고 불경기냐 아니냐를 또 다른 각도에서 보고 있는 그런 지표가 있다. 그렇게 보시면 되겠고요. Okay, the housing rising cost to drive up inflation. Well, we know that rent and other shelter costs are emerging as a major driver of overall consumer inflation. That means the main factor is housing cost, the shelter cost. The economists expect housing inflation to strengthen further before cooling off in the coming months, but are aware of when the relief will appear. And not only are shelter costs rising, they are climbing at an accelerating pace, accounting for growing share of the overall inflation rate, about 25% of August rate and up from 20% in February. So that means the housing cost pushing inflation high. Okay, that's a fact, but also in the inflation component, okay, the share of housing cost increase. Okay, so that's why it says November, there might be one more 0.75% increase in terms of federal fund rate. So rising housing costs also increase the chances that the Fed will raise interest rate in November again. Okay, the economist at the Barclays wrote in a report for their clients. So what they're saying is the housing cost is the main driving force to the inflation. And also the among inflation factors, share of the housing cost becomes higher. It takes about 20% of overall inflation factors, but now it's at 25%. So that's the main threat to the inflation. Okay, I believe this is the last news. EB5 Immigration Investment Program returns. So which families from China, India, etc. are coming to US via EB5 investment program again after recession? And it stopped actually because program didn't get the extension since last year to 2021 June. Okay, then stopped. Okay, and then it active again this March after the House passed and the Biden signed. So far from 2008, the total investment made through this program is $37 billion. So that's not a small amount. It's all $37 million is all foreign money invested from outside of US to US. Mostly real estate development. And so now the minimum investment is, with this EB5 program, is $1.05 million with the 10 legal employees. And actually it was $900,000 raised. And but it would be allowed to invest only $800,000 if the investment is made to underdeveloped area. And the program is attracted to many rich Chinese families looking for alternatives from the COVID-19 lockdown. So 그 EB5 프로그램이 다시 지금 재개가 됐다고 하는 뉴스가 들어왔고요. 작년 6월서부터 이게 있었는데 지금 이제 새로 이제 시작이 돼서 지금 차이나, 인디아, 뭐 한국에 대한 멘션은 없었지만 한국 사람들도 예외는 되지 않겠죠. 다시 이제 생각하기 시작했다. 그리고 2008년도 이후에 토탈 37 빌리언 달러가 이런 통로로 해서 미국에 투자가 됐다. 그 대신 이제 영국 돈을 주는데 많은 좀 문제가 있어서 사실은 익스텐션을 못했다가 이번에 다시 이제 시작이 됐다. 그래서 미니멈이 1 million or 5가 돼 있고요. 1 million 5만 불이고 그게 미니멈이고 10 legal employee가 필요하고 그 프로젝트에 그게 이제 지금 원래는 한 90만 불이었는데 올라갔고 지금도 언더디벨롭된 에리아 하면 80만 불도 가능하다. 뭐 이런 것들이 지금 돼 있는데 이게 지금 굉장히 다시 인기를 모으고 있는 게 차이나 같은 경우 예를 들어서 락다운이 심하잖아요, 그죠? 그러니까 이제 미국으로 들어오려고 하는 이미그레이션 하려고 하는 그런 얼터너티브를 찾는데 이게 딱 지금 어트랙티브하다. 그럼 2년 되면은 이제 퍼머넌트리 바꿔주는데 그리고 또 이제 원래 들어갔던 투자액도 다 100% 상환해주죠, 되돌려주죠. 그동안에 이제 교육 기간 동안은 뭐 조그만 이자만 좀 받고 그랬는데 문제는 그 프로젝트가 성공을 해야 그걸 되돌려받는데 성공하지 못하고 이익을 많이 못 내면 약간의 회사에 투자하는 그런 개념이 좀 섞여져 있어요. 론은 론인데 그러니까 좀 조심들을 많이 해야 되는 룰입니다. Okay, so this is it for this week, the news brief, and thank you for joining, and we'll see you all next week.